Right then, let's get into it. For those who are coming from Trails in the Sky, first chapter, the remake, and have only watched the remake and only know about the remake, do not watch this video, please. Do not watch this video. It's going to be full of spoilers for the entire series. So don't watch this if you don't want spoilers. Simple as that. For the rest of you who are following along, and we're getting ready for Horizon coming out next year, very soon we'll be back with Trails. It's time for us to get into theories, because I have thoughts because of what we've experienced through Trails in the Sky. Like, there's just some ideas I have in my head as a result of everything that we've seen and experienced again, plus some things that I don't know what they were like in the original version of the game. I might actually go check that out as part of this video. We'll find out, won't we, later on. First, there is one thought I had randomly at one point, like you may have noticed when we were going through first chapter. I was like, oh, ooh, I have a thought when we got onto the dragons. Because we know in third, there is a star door. What star door was it? I think it was Star Door 5? The Happiness Stone one? Which is to do with a dream. It's potentially a dream. That's the bit that makes me like, is it a dream? Is that Star Door a dream? Because we know at the end of the day, the Happiness Stone exists. Whatever this dream was, like, she did actually end up with the Happiness Stone. The child did end up with the Happiness Stone. I can't remember if they changed her name now in the remake. But you'll know who I'm on about. The green-haired child from the orphanage. She goes on an adventure with a child version of Ragnar and flies around and ends up with the Happiness Stone. And it was a question of, what is the Happiness Stone? Where did it come from? Clearly from Ragnar and stuff like that. But is that Ragnar as we know him? Is it something else? I think, because this is all building on theories we had previously. So, this is why it's like, if you're following along with just first, you're not going to know what I'm on about right now. But, But if you're following along with my Trails playthroughs up to this point, you'll know exactly where I'm going with this. I think the Happiness Stone and the dream are from a previous loop, a previous timeline. I think it's something that's fallen through the cracks on a loop reset. That's what I think is going on there. Her dream was a memory she had in a previous loop. That's something that happened to her in a previous loop sometime when it was a similar event, and she ended up with a Happiness Stone, and somehow that has fallen through the cracks. This actually brings me into my second point, my second thought of what could be going on with a few things that I want to add to the theories we've done with the time loops and stuff like that. It's a case of, at first I thought artifacts were from the ancient Sumerian civilization. When there was a collapse there, that brought about a massive cataclysm and stuff was left behind. But when we got to the museum in Gransel, we had pre-Septian calendar artifacts on the first floor. We'll call it that, even though it's the ground floor, but we'll get into that. But so we had pre-Sumerian, pre-Septian calendar artifacts on the first floor, and that would obviously be pre-collapse, before the great catastrophe that happened to Zemeria. But when you go check out the artifacts on the floor above it, they say era unknown, which is interesting. Why would there be that distinction? Why would there be that difference? Because that implies they don't know if they're pre-Septian calendar. They don't know if they're from the ancient Sumerian civilization. So what I think they are is they're orbments from previous loops. That's why they can't date them. That's why they can't figure out what they are. Because they are the equivalent of Arcus, Ramda, all the orbments that we've seen throughout this series. They're a previous loops, or several previous loops, version of that. And they've fallen through the cracks somehow whenever there's some kind of reset, whenever the time loop restarts or whatever. Things fall through. Now, I think that's very important because that does, therefore, obviously imply that things come through. Like, if things can, people can. And I'm starting to think maybe there is certain locations in the world where you can essentially escape a reset. Because I mentioned previously the idea that if you're outside the bubble, outside the firmament, then maybe you get spared from a reset and then you can go back down to the planet after it's reset and then live a life from there on. Or try and change what happens. You've got many, many options. But maybe there is other locations in the world where this actually happens. Say, for instance, the Primal Grounds. One specific Primal Ground in particular. Maybe when they're collecting the artifacts and they take them to a Primal Ground, maybe for some reason that allows them to survive a reset, end up in the next loop, end up in the next timeline. Because you're gonna need something like that, aren't you? Because if it's just a simple boom, it resets, like there's gonna be no change to the timeline at all. There's gotta be something that slips through that causes change, that causes differences in the timeline. And I feel like there are spaces where this happens. Maybe it's a case of like someone goes to the Primal Ground with an orbment, they survive through a reset, pop back out, cause an orbital revolution with their technology that they have, because they know what it's all about. Maybe Epstein is from a previous loop. That kind of thing. It's possible that kind of logic could be happening, especially when we consider the Celestial Globe. Was that the name of it? The Celestial Globe for Ouroboros? I think that was the name of it, wasn't it? Like, that seems like it's an other space. So maybe they're protected by everything because they're outside of it as well. And there is very, very similar design elements with the Celestial Globe and Primal Grounds when you think about it. Similar design elements. Maybe there's something there. That's what I'm starting to think. So yeah, that's the thoughts I wanted to add. That's the theories that have come about because of us going back through Trails in the Sky. The story aspect anyway, with first chapter there. Let me know your thoughts though. I want to see, like, have you got anything else that you spotted? Anything else that you could add? Remember, we don't want spoilers for Horizon. We haven't got there yet. No spoilers. If you know anything about that, we do not want to know. This is all speculation before Horizon. That's the key point there. Before Horizon, after Sky first chapter. Yes. Anyway, thank you for listening. We'll see what you think. And we'll be back with more Trails in a few videos, actually. I've got several ideas lined up right now. Yeah. Then we'll be over to Digimon, and then in future we'll be back with Horizon. Anyway, thank you for listening. Bye-bye.